everybody. Remember that one time I went into like a deep dive and recap of what went on in Throne of Glass? Yeah, we're gonna do that again, but we're gonna go with Crown of Midnight. Book 2 in the Throne of Glass series is gonna be so much fun. We're gonna have a lot of great, we're gonna be yapping and giggling and all that stuff. And also crying and weeping. It's gonna be just an emotional roller coaster. So let's get into it. Last time we checked on Celaena, we found out that she won the King's Tournament. She's now the King's Champion. She broke up with Dorian because she's like, hey, I can't be the King's Champion and be in a relationship with the Prince. This is gonna be a little weird. And then we also found out that the King and Duke Parrington are doing some really just villainy, just things. It's honestly, it's gonna continue in this one, okay? Just a heads up. But if you want a more detailed recap on the Throne of Glass series, I'm gonna post the video down below in the description. It's a great video, if I do say so myself. It was great, it was fun, funky, fresh, and if you haven't watched it, go watch it. The video takes care of everything that went on in Throne of Glass, so yes, there'll be spoilers. And of course, in this video, there's gonna be spoilers for Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, so just be wary of that. If you have not read the books, just like, if you want to read them, go ahead and read them. Pause this video, come back, and read. Or pause this video, go read, come back, then watch it. But if you don't care about spoilers, just keep watching, I guess. I mean, it's up to you, really. So, before we get into this video, we're going to be talking about plot, characters, themes, foreshadowing, mythos and lore, and because this is my video, things that I liked, but we're going to be structuring it a little bit differently. I structured it, or I sectioned off too much in the last video, so we're going to combine a few things. So with plot, we're going to combine foreshadowing and characters and things that I like, so not to worry, it's going to be all nicely just freshened up. So let's get started. Now with plot, so in the previous book we did end with Celaena being the King's Champion, and with the King basically threatening her, saying, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to kill Nehemia and kill her family and then kill Chaol. It's just a whole mess. He's not messing around, And she also saw an army of dead, just an army of dead, while she was fighting Kanan, just hallucinating. So that's a lot of fun. So this book starts off with Celaena being the King's Champion and taking care of the targets that the king has for her to take care of. And so the first one that we see is Lord Nyrell. She's supposed to bring back his head in a signet ring, so it's proof that she killed him. She gets the test done, she's that girl. We love her. And when she goes back, he's like, hey, I have another target for you. There's supposedly like a rebellion that's going on and people don't like me, and I want you to get to the center of things. Just take out this person that I hear is just feeding into these rebellion things. And the name that he gives her is Archer Finn. She knows this name and she's a little shocked, why Archer Finn? And we're like, who's Archer Finn? Why Archer Finn? Just hold up. After her meeting, of course, Chaol tries to debrief her, and he's like, hey, let's talk about it. You literally just killed someone, so let's talk about what's going on, how you're feeling. Let's not carry any feelings into your personal life, all that stuff. But she's like, no, leave, I don't want to talk about it. And we see a little bit in this instance that Chaol is kind of pining for her. We know from the last book, Chaol really likes her, obviously, and it still continues in this book, so we see that. So anyways, Celaena brushes him off and she's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. And we realize it's because she didn't actually kill Lord Nyrell. She hasn't killed any of her targets that the king has given her, and that's pretty much mutiny. I mean, you're not doing what the king tells you to do, but she basically has not killed any of them. She gives them the choice. She's like, you can either stage your death, okay, run far away, hide from everyone you know, take up a new lifestyle, never ever mention your name again, or I can kill you. And of course, everyone picks the former, so good choice for them. That's basically what Lord Nyrell chose. That's what she's doing right now. And how she gets away with it, you ask? Oh, of course, she finds someone who kind of vaguely looks like them and who's already been dead, gets their head, kind of mutilates it a little bit, and gets their signet ring and just shows it to the king. That's what she does, which is so smart. We love a smart girl. We love just the resourcefulness of Celaena. She really is so smart. We love her. But this little act really gives us a hint into her defying the king's orders. She's already like, hey, let me just not kill people, even though she's a trained assassin. She has killed people. But let's not do it. That really is just a little bit of her defying the king's orders, becoming a little bit rebellious. It's a great little nugget of her character that will gradually become bigger, and it's just, we're gonna talk about that more. This is so good. I love how the characters evolve in these books. Just so good. So also what's going on, and Celaena said, we also get that she has not heard from Olenna since the duel. So literally she's not heard anything, has not been given any news whatsoever, and that really, she's not sure if she likes it or if she's paranoid, you know. Olenna all in the last book was like, you need to get rid of the evil. So she's like, okay, have I gotten rid of it yet? Like, did I do that? Did I do that with Cain? And also is she like, but is there, you know, more evil? I don't want there to be. Really what Celaena wants in this first half of the book is she just wants peace. She wants peace. She doesn't want to rock the boat. She wants to be free, and she wants to do what she will, you know? She doesn't want to be tied down to any huge, I don't want to say prophecy, but she doesn't want to be tied down to something bigger than her, bigger than what she can control, you know? And also at the same time, we get that she has nightmares of her duel with Cain, and we get that she has nightmares where he's saying her true name. We don't get that true name yet, but we will, don't worry. And then at the same time as this, we're getting a side plot with Nehemia. She is trying to talk to the king and is like, hey, I really care about my people, and I really don't want them to be sent off into Calacola, which is another kind of camp. You know what I mean by camp? Not the good kind of camp. Not the fun where you sing songs and all that. No, the bad kind of camp where people get mercilessly killed and all that stuff. Just like what basically Endovier was. Calacola is the same, and it's in Elway, and she just doesn't want her people to be there because it's already full down there, and also her people she wants to keep safe. It's just a whole mess. And yeah, like, she should be fighting for that. She is their princess, and also that's the right thing to do. So after Celaena basically breaks up with Dorian in the last book, there is a continual widening of the relationship in this book, or in this half of the book, and it's really just like, after the breakup, like, what are they? Are they friends? Do they want to be friends? Do they not want to be friends? What's going on? So we see that, especially in the first few chapters, of what's going on between them, which also coincides with Chaol and Dorian, because Dorian obviously sees Chaol cares for Celaena, so he's a little bit of the odd man out right here. And while Chaol and Celaena have been getting, well acquainted in this book, Chaol also feels that he can talk to Celaena in ways that he can't talk to Dorian, especially with him killing Cain in the last book. That was Chaol's first kill. This is a lot of sounds, and it's making me think that I'm doing like some kind of tongue twister, but I digress. Basically, Chaol is still uneasy about killing someone, and this is the first person that he's killed. So let's put that like in context of his character and what that looks like in this whole storyline. So basically, Chaol has not killed anybody. He's like 22 years old. He's captain of the guard, a higher up position. He's not killed anybody. He's the son of a lord. Adarlan is basically colonizing other kingdoms. So like, this just shows the privilege of Chaol getting into this position. He didn't have to kill anybody. He didn't have to protect himself in a position where it's like he had to kill to protect himself. He never had any of that. So seeing that, it really gives more light to Chaol's character and to Chaol, like where Chaol has been, his past, and where he's at now. But I think that's very interesting. And of course, this gives Chaol the comfort to be able to ask Celaena, hey, do you ever think about the people that you killed? And she's like, yes, of course I do. Even the ones that deserve it. And he's like, okay, like it kind of gives him a better perception of the position that he's in if Celaena, who is a trained assassin, thinks about people that she's killed. So obviously it just gives that more, it illuminates that side of things. There's more intimacy within the conversations that Celaena and Chaol have, which is very good. I like that that's different, a different contrast to Dorian and Celaena's intimacy together. Like, there's different examples, you know what I mean? It illuminates their characters a lot more. Now, while Celaena and Chaol are off together on the grounds, Dorian is visited by his cousin Roland, who is from northern Adarlan. And basically, Roland is now part of the King's Council, which is absolutely insane. Now, Roland is a little bit more on the younger side. He's like probably around Dorian's age, maybe older, but he's very much a ladies' man, and Chaol and Celaena just have bad vibes for him. Now, while Celaena just can't quite figure out why there's bad vibe, Chaol does, and basically tells Celaena, hey, yeah, I found him in bed with a woman that I really liked at the time. and he did it on purpose. And she's like, oh, okay, he's really that scummy, you know? And they watch out for him. They're keeping an eye on him, especially Celaena. She's like, I got my eye on you. Now, Celaena begins her observation on Archer Finn, and that's a whole lot of fun because she has this whole thing going on where she's like, I know it'd be easy to kill him because he's not some kind of warmongering villain, but I want to get more information on this rebellion, like what's going on. So she requests that she's given a month to kill him, and the king's like, okay, cool. And so she's trying to keep eyes on him and figure out, like, why is he at the center of this rebellion? What does that do for him, you know? Now, we've gotten from Celaena in the last book that she loves books. She is a reader. She loves to learn. She loves, you know, the written word, which is it's so great for us who read the books because we're like, twin, you know? So one night, she can't sleep and she's like, let me go to the library. Let me get a book. And as she's on her way, she sees this weird dark figure and she's like, okay, what? And then the eye of Olenna starts glowing and she's like, oh, okay. And the figure disappears and she books it back to her room and she's like, all right, I gotta figure out what's going on. Why did my Eye of Olenna amulet like light up? Like, it hasn't done that in months, not since the King's Tournament. Let me just see if I can contact Olenna, okay? So she runs to her room and goes down to the tomb, and she finds some surprises. Like, for one, the knocker to the door to the tomb is alive. It's a little magical being named Mort, and he's a door knocker, and his name is Mort. And he's a little shy, you know? That's why we didn't see him in the first one. He just didn't want to talk, you know? I get that. But also, like, it's magical and it works. And in this scene is where we get a lot of good information on why Mort is alive and not other magical things. And it's because Mort is made of ancient magic, and because he was made by Brannon, King Brannon himself. And he makes a comment that not all magic can be barred, not something ancient like him or like Wordmark. He then asks Celaena, like, what's your name? What's your name? He already knows what her name is, but he's asking, what's her name? She's like, Celaena Sardothien. And he starts laughing. Add that to another reason why Celaena has a true name. So yeah, let's figure out what her true name is. And Mort tells her, oh, Olenna told me about you. Yeah, I know you. She told me who you really are. Okay, well, can Olenna tell us who she really is? We'd love to know that. But he does tell Celaena that Olenna did leave a message for her and that he'll recite it for her. And it goes as follows. If I could leave you in peace, I would, but you have lived your life aware that you will never escape certain burdens. Whether you like it or not, you are bound to the fate of this world. As the king's champion, you are now in a position of power, and you can make a difference in the lives of many. Now it says after that, Celaena's stomach turned over. Yeah, she doesn't want to be part of something bigger than herself. She just wants to have freedom, you know? She just wants to be free and be, you know, whatever. Mort then tells her that Cain and the Ridderak were only the beginning, and that there is a more dangerous adversary out there, and she needs to defeat it. We're back on to Celaena and her mission to kill Archer. Now, we know with Archer, she's taking her sweet time. We know that she wants to conveniently run into him while she's going out to lunch, you know? She wants to kind of figure out what's going on. And of course, Chaol has been hounding her like, let me help. And so she's like, fine, come with me. So she goes with Chaol to do this little, you know, oh, you're here? How have you been? You know, kind of thing. And what's really funny is when Chaol realizes that Celaena and Archer know each other. Not know each other, but they know each other from the past. And that kind of just makes him a little iffy on the whole situation. Like, what's going on? How do you know him? I think also what unnerves him is that he figures out that Archer's a courtesan. In blatant terms, he is a sex worker, a professional sex worker. And a lot of times, the assassins and the courtesans, they knew of each other. Not because they worked together in that situation. Maybe some of them did, but because they knew of each other, you know. And so that really catches Chaol off guard. But we do know that he is a lot older than Celaena, but he's very handsome. So we do know that, you know. She probably had a crush on him when she was younger, kind of thing. Now later on, Celaena attends a dinner at the palace, and the king is there, and she just needs to play, you know, the good servant, just to be there and just to watch over things and all that stuff. She tries to get a feel for Dorian Orana's cousin. Like, is he a little iffy? But they seem like they're family, you know, they're just having fun, all that stuff. While she's at this dinner, she's watching Dorian, and she wonders, why didn't Olenna entrust him with these tasks? It's like, okay, why Dorian? Why not Kale? You know? What's going on with this whole situation? And we'll figure that out. Anyway, so Dorian leaves dinner, and Selena quickly follows him and is like, hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on? In Selena's own way, not in my own way, because I would be a lot more soft and well-spoken, but Selena would be like, hey, you okay? You good? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine, whatever. Selena takes this time to warn Dorian about his cousin. Is like, hey, just making sure, like, your cousin, whatever, she's just making sure. And he's like, he's harmless. And she's like, okay, well, maybe not, just be careful. Dorian kind of bites back at that, and he's like, he starts to accuse her of taking advantage of him. And it's like, okay, her? And then she kind of bites back right back at him, because she can take it and she can bring it back, and she's like, hey, don't come crying to me when you're a puppet if you already aren't one. Ooh, she got him good. And that definitely made him angry, and he storms off.